Evening, everybody. You're very welcome back to Chuck's Chats. Delighted to be joined this evening by the great, the one and only Joe Osborne, who's the king of, amongst other things, Vets rugby here in Bective. Joe, thank you for coming in.
Thanks very much, Simon.
Tell us about your background, Joe. What's the story? Why Bective? When did you join Bective?
Well, my first impression of Bective was I was actually playing for Naas at the time and working in Dublin in the bank and living in Dundrum. And I said, I have to find somewhere to train because I was playing every weekend for Naas. I was on normally Naas first or seconds, mainly for the seconds J2 rugby.
Okay.
And I called into Bective, and who was on the pitch? Only Jim the Baker, Jimmy White.
Yeah.
And I explained my predicament, and he said, yeah, no
Talked
problem.
you straight in the door.
No problem, come on and train. So I was delighted with that, and I was very impressed. So then, lo and behold, 3 weeks later or so, I was playing for Naas in Glenamoke against Bective.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up scoring a try against Bective, and we beat Bective, and I said, oh my God. And the lads were just so sound, it made such a big impression on me. So when I came back from London in 1996, 3 years later, I said, I'm going to join Bective. I'm working in Dublin, and it's a great club, you know. So I think it was about August 1996, I met Frankie Smith in the dressing room.
The great Frankie Smith, yes.
Out with Frankie, just chatting with Frankie. He's the first man I met. And
Osborne,
he said,
get yourself in here.
Yeah, well, I never played under 19s with him, but I joined the lads and loved it. I've been here ever since, you know.
Okay, so how long did you play then? What team did you on? Were you on the J1s or did you go on the
at
seniors?
my best now, and a lot of people will debate this, I was probably a good J2 player because I had played J2
down in Naas.
In Naas,
yeah.
And I had played Tans Cup matches for Naas, and just one Tans Cup match for Naas, but I couldn't hold my place as J2 player. But when I came here, 96, I think I got onto the thirds, and we had a good thirds team with Tim O'Flanagan was coaching.
Okay, yeah.
And Dave McGee was out half. We had a very good team, but I eventually lost my place to a very good player, a guy called Shane Mallon.
Right.
And that was the end of my thirds career.
Okay.
And so, like anything, I suppose I just want to play. So
hope you stayed with it. You just sliding down.
I just dropped down and I started looking after the third A's, and then I dropped down again and started looking after third B's, and I was kind of running the junior section J2 down to whatever J4 for a number of years until the old spuds took their toll and it was getting too slow to play junior rugby.
The body tends to retire people, not the mind. Yes, the mind is willing, which is testament and is very well seen with the vets, and we'll come to the vets because there's guys out there who should have given up a long time ago, but they're still doing it. I mean, I watched one match last season. I actually took some videos for you. He played the guards and it started 15 aside and it ended up 10 against 9. Yeah, because every time a guy put in a tackle or got a hit, he was carried off. Knees gone, shoulders gone, ankles gone.
You have to listen to your body. And
you do, but that's why Vets is there. I think it's brilliant that it's there. We'll come to that. So, do you win anything in Bective? Because there's loads of us won nothing here in our time.
I did with the Vets, but we won. The first thing that I won with Bective was to play. They used to have a great thing on this, probably the first Sunday in September. On the two pitches, Wesley used to run a junior tournament and it's designed for J3, J4. And we actually won the plate. And during the final of the plate, I can't remember who we were even playing. I hurt my hand in the first half, so I said to the captain, Peter Sherry, I think.
Lovely guy. Peter, yeah.
I said, Peter, I hurt my hand. He says, Joe, you'll be okay, play on. So I played on, and then I drove home in my little Opel Corsa, you know. And the parents says, get straight down to the hospital. Like I'd actually broken my wrist, but we won the plate, so it was great. You know.
Was that the end of it? Did you call it a day then?
No. That was only 96, 97, like so.
So when did you stop playing serious? And I'm not dissing the Vets, but like competitively before you moved on to the Vets.
I'd say around 33, 34. Yeah, it's getting. When I reached veteran age, officially by
35 is, I think, the official
35,
age.
Yeah,
geez, I'd love to be 35 because it's not really veterans when you get to my age.
But,
35 is only a young buck.
I don't know about you, Chuck, but looking at the rugby now, I'm so glad I'm retired. I love rugby.
It's a different game now.
I'm so glad, the younger bodies, you're conditioned to take those hits or whatever, but...
Because they're all living in the gym and on protein shakes. Right? We would have done none of that back in the day.
No.
We were living on pints and tapas, which is crisps and peanuts in the bar. Yes.
yes, big time. Yeah.
So moving on then with your life, because I'm interested in your boys and we're getting there. So you moved back to Naas, or you got married, started a family, same as the rest of us. A lot of people give it up then, but you stuck with it.
Well, I was only in Dublin for about a few months because the poor lady is a friend of my mother's. I was paying her a huge sum of £20 per week to stay in Dundrum.
For board,
and she was feeding me. I was costing her money.
Yeah, so because you were eating more than that.
But Lord have mercy on poor May. She actually got liver cancer and she died when I was there. So essentially, when my contract had finished with AIB, I was back home because you could only get 9 months contract with AIB back then. This is 1993.
Mm-hmm.
And I was job hunting then, and I ended up going to London for a couple of years, before I came back, Bective in 96,
Okay. And you're here since?
Yeah. We living in Kildare. We built a house in Naas on the family farm. But this is my home in Dublin. Bective's my home in Dublin. I always loved Dublin.
We're well aware of that. You're part of the furniture here, Joe.
Yeah, but it's a great place. It's such a welcoming place. And anyone that's here, when I told.
So if you describe its USPs here, if you're trying to get a mate to come in, how would you your elevator pitch on Bective? What would you say?
Well, you used to say, we were. Drinking club with a rugby problem. But no, it's just if you want to enjoy rugby and in a real welcoming place where you're going to feel at home straight away,
no airs and graces in here.
Yeah, exactly. You come in and lads, and the slag, you might get a bit of slagging, but there's nothing vicious. It's all good taking. And the rugby, it's a serious rugby club. And we should never forget that.
Yeah, now we've fallen slightly on hard times, but we've put in the foundations to revitalise the club from minis all the way up through youths. We're now fielding a fourth team this year. We're fielding an under 20s, and the vets are still going strong.
The 20s are superb. That's great. I think Emmett Sheridan was paramount to what happened here. Making him director of rugby
was a huge decision.
Brilliant decision.
Yeah.
And then bringing in a really good coach like Bernard Jackman. The buzz in the club the last few years has been fantastic.
Correct. We've got our mojo back
yes,
here.
Definitely.
And we've got soul as a word I use all the time.
And then the refurbishments of the club. I was so proud, even though we got hockeyed by Old Wesley, I was so proud to bring the Old Wesley lads in here and to tell them of the great work. And they said, Joe, the place looks great.
It does look great.
It looks, you're proud to bring it in before. If you brought in before the renovations, you still get the warm welcome, but it might be cold.
It was like one of those homes that Dermot Bannon would go into renovation, 1960s or 70s bungalow that hadn't been touched since then. The place was stale and run down, and it needed
to be revamped.
And by revamping the club, and we had Paddy O'Brien in a couple of weeks ago, right? Who was the QS and the master of everything that went on here.
Oh, brilliant!
And by doing that, we've actually put some energy back into. We're proud to bring people in and say, look at this, look what we've done.
Oh, it's fantastic.
And that has a knock-on effect, believe it or not, in attracting new members and new people in here. And we have a huge, what I call a kind of a club within a club that I only discovered last year. My nephew started minis and I'm looking after him. I'm down here on a Friday and a Sunday now. You want to see it. They're like ants out on the pitch, and there's parents everywhere. And I'm looking at these people going,
so you're coaching?
No, I'm not. No, I'm just delivering the young fella down and buying him Coke and crisps afterwards. But I'm now here at the weekends on a Friday and a Sunday, and the amount of people that are around that we need to kind of put the two clubs together without getting too overcomplicated about it. But the refurbishment of the club, I think, is brilliant and has helped. And it's given us sense of pride about the place.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah. And now on the rugby front, we're coming on. We will eventually, might not be this year, next year, but we'll eventually work our way back to senior status because we've put in the foundations, and the foundation's the production line of the kids, right, from minis. And now we've got youth teams all the way up to 18 and a halves, and the 20 starting this year with Emmett and Weewa, running them, 2 Mafia Dons, right? So you can be sure the new Joe Nolans of our generation, yeah. And Dave McAllister is coach, so it's all good. So talk to us about the Vets. You're the king of the Vets. It's your baby. Your Vets WhatsApp group has more members than any other WhatsApp group in the club.
I know I suppose like when I dropped down junior rugby down from the thirds to the fourths to the fifths, I'd reached an age where I found junior rugby, it's too fast for me, like, so. And there's a few of us now, Brian Kavanagh, there's a few lads that we just started up. We started up a team, and I met some other clubs, and we talked about setting up a league in Leinster.
For Vets.
For Vets. We had about, at its peak, we had about 8 teams. And we'd have every match we played, we'd raise a few quid for Crumlin Hospital. So over the years, over the years of the league, we raised over 50,000, which was brilliant.
Excellent. Yeah.
From all the clubs and all the players and whatever, like. But it's been great crack. Like we've had a couple of really good juniors tours. Juniors Horn in Newcastle.
Yes, yeah.
We played them.
When did you go to Newcastle?
2008, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a brilliant tour.
On a Vets tour.
On a Vets tour.
And are there any clean stories and non-libelous stories that you can share with us at that tour?
Best, what goes on tour stays on tour. But it was a great tour, Chuck. But we just great bodies, and then as the league got more serious, like initially I was captain for the first 2 or 3 years, and disastrous. We lost every game. It was a disastrous record. And Weewa came along, and Joe Nolan, and I said, Weewa, brilliant, because Weewa bring in all the Clongowes guys.
Correct, yeah.
And we had Monty, we had some super players, like we'd Monty, we'd Weewa, we'd Nardo, Lord of Mercy, and
Raffo probably.
Raffo,
Manuel
is still playing.
Manuel is still here. The Benjamin Button of Bective.
Probably the best hooker in the club. Is that guy? He's a great player.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's what happened. So it went very well, but we're all at a certain age now where a lot of us have retired from playing. I still enjoy getting a team together. What I do miss though is the camaraderie of training on a Wednesday. We just can't. It's very hard to get lads out training.
We're well aware of viewing the WhatsApp groups. We're well aware.
But
but you're still getting guys scraping together for matches.
So
I came down to watch you play twice last year.
We played the second match we played against Bordeaux. We played excellent. We only lost with we scored a late try and we missed the conversion, and we lost by 2 points. So we're hoping now it's.
And there was a long night in the bar afterwards.
Yeah,
Bordeaux.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
But
did we all sing the Marseillaise?
Weewa wasn't there that night. Now Weewa has been busy with his under-20 team stuff, but Weewa's legendary one La Marseillaise rendition is one to.
It's still on YouTube.
Yes,
it's there for immortality.
Yeah. So as I say, I really enjoy the Vets, but I'd love on a Wednesday if we get a few lads out just for a little run around. But you never know. We might get them out,
But you have a few games scheduled in for this season.
Well, I've a date set for I was hoping to play the Gardaí on the 22nd of November. It's a Friday night. They're struggling as well to get numbers out because they're of a certain age as well. But hopefully, if we don't get them, I might even organise maybe a friendly match between the Forts and ourselves that we get 2 teams out and just have a run out on the back pitch.
It was the Guards match I was here for last year, and I got a video of the great young Mick Finnegan scoring his first ever try in rugby. Now, he said he was boasting afterwards he ran from the halfway line. The camera shows he ran about 10 yards and fell over. But the beauty of it was he then drop kicked his conversion.
Yes,
over the 6, which I thought was brilliant. Mick's a good lad, and he's a
Mick's
good
a great guy now. Really enjoy his company now, and hopefully now, as I say, we're hoping to go on tour to Bordeaux late May, early June next year.
Mm-hmm.
And Mick is looking at the accommodation for us, so it's something to look forward to.
See, at the Vets level, it's not about the rugby. The rugby's only an excuse to get you all together. And it's about having the crack and
exactly.
telling the same old stories over and over again.
If you're not enjoying it, like, so you have to enjoy it. Like, but the lads, like Greg Allen, for instance, he's 62.
Mm-hmm.
Greg won't like me saying that, but he's
That's
playing
okay.
better
Well,
than ever.
you've just said it now. It's there forever.
He's playing better than ever. Like,
and he's also very strong on a WhatsApp group. Very sarcastic.
Very witty.
Yes.
Very, very bright. Well, famously, he said we used to go on tour to Dingle as well. We went with the Vets and with the junior teams.
Yeah, Nards was in Dingle, I think.
For Mingle and Dingle.
Yeah.
And Nardo scored the winning try.
Yeah, and came off in cleaner gear than when he went out on. Nardo never got dirty.
He's a class player. But I picked up a loose ball during one of these matches. I don't know who were playing. And I picked up a loose ball and started running down the pitch. And Greg Allen says, "Joe Osborne, the eyes of a hawk, the brains of a chicken." Terrible man.
So the vets is still going strong, and looking in part of this series, we're ticking boxes, trying to be inclusive to all the different substrata within the club, and we've had Minnie's people in, and I was very conscious we hadn't got you in, and we wanted to get somebody because the Vets is important to the club because it just keeps people connected, even if they only get out for a run every couple of months. It keeps them connected. Okay, so the second part of your life, and this is where you won't be talking about yourself, but we want to talk about the offspring.
Yeah.
And you're in the equine business, yes, horses, yeah. And I was thinking coming up in the car, I was thinking, everybody in Bective has a nickname. And a lot of them to do with animals, with the badger, the dog, the beagle, the trout. And I'm going, I really think you should be called the stallion. Because
Jesus.
there isn't a sire down in the national stud producing offspring like you are. Yeah, so we've got Jamie, who's playing for Ireland. He's only 22. We've Andrew, who made his Leinster debut last year. He's 19, correct me if I'm wrong. And then played in the 19s. Was the 19s World Cup down in South Africa?
Under 20s.
Under 20s, okay. And then the two boys played recently together against Connacht.
Yes.
Although Bundy Aki nearly tried to fix that.
Yes.
Is there any truth in the rumour that Jamie saw Bundy coming and just threw the hospital pass out to the kids?
That's what my wife, Fiona, was at the match. I couldn't make it because I had to bring my youngest 8-year-old to a Gaelic football match. I didn't want to miss his last match of the season. So Fiona was at the match, and there's two Connacht lads beside Fiona as Aki hit Andrew.
Yeah.
And he said, Jamie must have said, "Oh Christ, here goes Aki. Andrew, you have it."
You can have it, and you can have him. Jeez, he nearly took
But
his
thank
head
God
off.
he's
Is he all right?
Yeah, he's grand. He's grand. He's grand. Yeah.
And Jamie did really well down in South Africa on the tour, playing full back, which isn't alien to him, but he's been a centre with Leinster for a couple of years, so we're slightly out of position. I thought he did really well on that tour, and now he's in the squad for the November International.
Yeah, well,
it's all going well. Joe, what are you feeding them? But what are you doing? And you have more. You have 3 more lads coming through. It's like...
Well, you call me the stallion now. If you're going in horse terms now, Chuck, you might understand this. I'm now officially a gelding, unfortunately.
Okay, well, I had that operation too. Yeah,
it had to be done. My wife, otherwise, my wife would have left me.
I'm a gelding as well. I spent my whole life up in Kylie's, right, throwing money at Pat Cremin, right, and drinking copious amounts of beer, trying to get my end away. And then eventually, when I have a couple of kids, I end up in the doctor's next door. I can't remember his name.
Oh, I know.
3 doors up,
same doctor.
up onto the table, to get my nads done. And I'm going, the irony of that, right? But sure, look, you've done well anyway. 5 boys?
Yeah, well, I know we're blessed now. We've 5 boys, and as I say, they're all... When we sat down, the older lads, to tell them that Fiona was pregnant, about to have another baby, we were as much in shock as they were. But both Jamie and Andrew got very upset. In other words, how could you do this to us, lad? It's so embarrassing, But
Stork wrote that, or were they too old for the Stork story?
But they absolutely love Will now. They absolutely love him, so it's all worked out well,
So I was reading an article recently where they were comparing the Osbornes and saying they could be the next Barretts down in New Zealand, except the Barretts are actually from Meath, let's be honest. or the Wallaces, where there was David, Paul, and Richie.
Oh, Richie.
So you've got Jamie capped, Irish cap, and going to go a long way, right? I'm a good spotter of talent. I know my shit. He's a super player right now. I'm not blowing smoke up, but he's a super player. He never seems to make a wrong decision. And he has that thing that all the really good guys have. He seems to have time on the ball, right? He can tackle, he can kick, he can run, he knows how to score tries. I'm struggling. I'm a Munster fan, as you'd be well aware. So I'd be loving to try and pick holes in him and go, yeah, he'd never make it. But that kid's going to go all the way. Like 22 and he's playing for Ireland. That's fantastic. And Andrew is no slouch either. But without putting pressure on your other three boys, there's more of them.
Yeah, we've three other boys. Jack is a lovely player. He plays for the 18.5s, which is this
down in Naas, because all the boys played in Naas.
18.5 up to the next team, up to the under 20s.
Under 20s, yeah.
So this is his second year playing for the 18.5s now. He's a lovely out half and he's a lovely full back.
Is he a lefty as well?
No, he's right footed.
Okay.
He's a fine footballer, and then my fourth lad, Adam, is 15 and he's playing blindside flanker. And he's a lovely player as well. He's a great tackler and he's one of these players that every team needs. You know, you can rely on him to make his tackles and he does all the basics right, you know. And then the last lad, which I'm having great fun, is I coach the under 9s in Naas. My 8-year-old Will is a great little sportsman. So.
And what do you put it down to, Joe? Obviously, there's something in the genes, but apart from that, Naas is a very good community local club, right? With very good underage structure.
Oh, it's brilliant.
And I know that the boys were playing GA. Jamie was playing GA up until he was 16 when he had to make the call: is it going to be Gaelic or rugby? Yeah.
Jamie. You probably see this, Chuck, yourself, that a lot of the really good sportsmen and women are very good at whatever sports they take up, and Jamie
the skills are intertransferable.
Yeah, and Jamie would have played for Kildare, and no doubt he would have played for Kildare. Now Kildare football is not going great at the moment, but I think Jamie would have made the team.
He's a booming left boot on him, right?
Yeah, I think he would have definitely played for Kildare, but at 15, 16, when you reach a certain level, you have to make a decision, and same with Andrew. Andrew was a lovely Gaelic footballer. And the other three lads as well. Like as I said, my 8-year-old is back playing Gaelic football this year, and it's been brilliant for him.
So the pathway is unusual.
Yeah.
For Jamie and Andrew, and maybe the other boys coming. And there's very few who make it through that kind of non-schools rugby pathway. So you had Shane Horgan was kind of the first. You had Shawnee O'Brien, you've Tyke Furlong, and now you've Jamie and Andrew. How did that work? And surely you must have had Blackrock and Michaels and Clongles and Hubert sniffing around going, do they want to come here?
No, not at all. I actually, at the time when they were very young, I put them down for Newbridge, but just it just wasn't a runner at the time. So we said we put them in Naas CBS, because a lot of my friends went to school in Naas CBS, and they've done very well, and not only academically but sports-wise. It's a brilliant school. Gaelic football, rugby. They won Leinster tennis as well. Like it's a very good school, you know. And the lads anyone that goes to CBS, they all seem happy kids, you know. And you know, it's a good school.
Absolutely,
The principal's a lovely guy, so. But they just the love of the rugby, the North. You probably know the structure. There's 5 regions there's North Midlands, there's North East, there's Midlands, there's South East, and there's Metro. So there's 5 regions.
Which one did Naas fall into?
Naas is North Midlands.
Okay.
So at under 15s is when it all starts.
But they start bringing the boys to
They bring the boys. Each club in North Midlands will send who they think is good. And after 2 or 3 sessions, they whittle it down and send the lads back to the club saying, we're only going to retain these players, you know. And at least everyone's getting a chance.
It's a bit like getting schools trials way. If
the
it's
posh great.
Rugby schools.
You get it's great, and it's very well organised. Now it's a lot like there's a lot of commitment to it now. As like I used to go work nights when I was working for the Aga Khan, checking the horses nights, doing security.
I'd see the stallion is going to stick. He used to work for the. That's it. Now it's official.
And Fiona used to have to bring. They were training in Kildare and Edenderry, so Fiona had to bring the lads.
Stretch, yeah.
Will was only a baby at the time.
She bring him with them.
She bring him and changing the baby in the car and waiting for the lads to train it. There'd be 2 hours maybe.
Yeah, and Edenderry is a good stretch.
Yeah, it's a horrible road. It's a horrible road.
Yeah, I know that road. Yeah.
So, so the lads have to enjoy it because there's a first commitment, like, you know, and that goes on. If you get through the North Midlands, they play the Shane Horgan Cup, I think under 16.
Yeah.
And the winners of that, and so they put them out of the North Midlands. Then they're sent. If they get through it, they're sent to Leinster, like, you know. They put them down again. Each region sends the players through.
So you'll have Leinster development officers coming watching all of these as well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So when did Jamie, for example, we'd pick on Jamie just because of the oldest, when did you kind of think, geez, this kid could make it? Was it when Leinster came knocking on the door?
Oh yeah.
Or did you know even before that?
But I was in shock. Like, I was in shock. Like, I knew he was going well. Like, well, I used to watch him here in Donnybrook. Like, he'd have training matches here, and like I know his father, like, but
but you
I
can
could
still
see him
tell.
standing out
Yes,
that he was standing out as one of the better players in the pitch, like, you know. And every game that he played, he seemed, and to be fair to Jamie, like, no matter what level he goes to, he seems to hold his own, step up each time. So it was just like that match in South Africa, the second test was, I think it was his best ever game. Like, he didn't put a foot wrong. Like, you know. He had a hand in the try that we scored. He stopped the definite try, and every ball that they kicked him, he caught, you know. So I think he's. We were just over the moon. Like,
when did the big breakthrough come, Joe? Let's start with Leinster. When did the breakthrough? Well, when did the phone call, or when did Leo say, come into, or do they go into the academy if they don't come through the normal pathway, or how does that work?
I tell you, Guy used to be. He's the operations manager. Called down to the house and he said, like, we're offering Jamie a senior contract. And now Jamie has his agent, like James Downey, very nice guy. I haven't met him now, but he's meant to be a very nice guy. And but he was over the moon to.
What age was he when they gave him the first contract? Do you know?
I think, well, he's
only 22
he wasn't
now.
in the academy, so I think he was offered a contract just before his debut, I think, but he didn't get the big contract, senior contract, till a while after that. I just can't remember exactly, but he's on good money now, and we're over the moon for him.
Good for him. I saw he got a car a couple of weeks ago as well.
Yeah, that's
You've arrived when you get a car. Yes.
But I say to the lads, they love you when you're playing.
Yeah,
when
and you're a nobody when you're not. Yeah.
There won't be any cars coming up, you know. So enjoy it while you have it, like, because Jamie's grandmother, my mother Joan, bought Jamie a Volkswagen Golf, and not a brand new one now. And he loved the car, like, you know. But then I think she's and Naas have been very good to him to give him a courtesy car.
Yeah. And
now Andrew is delighted because he has Jamie's car now.
Yeah, so it's a trickle-down effect. Talk to me from a parent's point of view, right? So, I'm a parent. I have 3 daughters. Love them to death. No sons. Putting all my faith in my nephew. I call him the son I never had, right? He's shown a bit of promise, but he probably won't play for Ireland. But as a parent, it must be fantastic to watch your son and heir progress through the ranks and become a household name, which he is now. Yeah. How is that for yourself and Fiona? How does that work?
Listen, it's brilliant. Like, it's kind of surreal. Like, I still can't believe that I have 2 sons playing for Leinster now, and then to see Jamie there, and we watched it at home, in the house at home with the grandparents and uncles and everything. It was a brilliant day, you know. And there's a delay in the first test. Jamie scored a try, and we all erupted in the sitting room. But there's a delay where the kids were, 2-minute delay to the. And all the kids were up. So it's very funny. It's very funny, you know.
So you must. I hope you have the passport well up to date. How do you go? You can't go to every match. You can't go to every. You just physically can't.
Well, we went last year. Back for Andrew's debut, we went to Parma.
Parma when Andrew got his first cap last.
That was fantastic. and he scored a try, and they have a tradition that we're called into the dressing room. Ronan O'Donnell said, "Come on in," gave us pass to go into the dressing room. So Jamie presented Andrew with his cap after the game.
Like, that's a brilliant moment.
Yeah, it was lovely, lovely, and Jamie was delighted. And then the guy who's received his first cap has to sing a song. So
that's
Andrew
not so
singing
great.
Firework by Katy Perry. And all the players got really into it. They started singing along and laughing. Like, so it was good. It was a great moment. It was a great moment.
Okay.
So there's a tight, like I said to Jamie when he started, I said, "Jamie, come on, tell me, there must be some arseholes there must be some lads that you know like." He says, "No," he says, "the atmosphere is really good." And he says, "Dave Carney was making me a coffee this morning." So there's
does he get overawed by, the big names?
Does he?
Yeah. Or did he when he started out? Like Johnny Sexton was playing when he was starting out.
I think he just settled in straight away. Like there's a great culture there that when you're injured, you know the way the famous Bill Shankly says, "I don't want to see you when you're injured. You don't exist. You're nothing to me." If you're injured playing for Leinster, you're encouraged. You have to come in every day to do your rehab, and you have to attend team meetings. So you're kept in the loop.
Yeah.
You're not feeling ostracised. You feel part of the team, which I think is great.
It's good for
great
culture. Yes,
yeah,
good for culture. Okay. Enough about the kids. Let's get back to Bective. So you've been here since '96. You're coming up to 30 years here. What keeps bringing you back, Joe, to Bective? Because you could check out. Let's be honest. You could say, "I'm living in Naas. The boys all played in Naas." But you didn't check out. You're still here. Why are you still here?
It's just, as I said to you earlier, it's my home in Dublin. I just feel it when I come in the door here. I just feel at home. And whether you're meeting lads or chanting lads on the sidelines or having a game of touch or Mark and Sharon there, there's a great welcome coming in.
It's like family, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's like a family, and it's a special place. And that's why I was delighted. Like the clubhouse is still the clubhouse, We've given it a really good refurbish and it looks fantastic. But the people make the place, and just special people, and that we have that. We do love our rugby. At the end of the day, you win, lose or draw, you're back in the clubhouse.
We don't take ourselves too seriously either.
Yeah, yes. but we do love our rugby. We do love our rugby, and we do love the club, and that there's place here for everyone, really,
Okay, and who are the characters, Joe, that would stick out? And that, Jesus, there's a long list of characters in this place. But who are the ones that would stick out for you?
Well, there's so many characters, but there's so many great men. Like I mentioned, like the Sheridan brothers, like Emmett and Ross, Fergus Flanagan, great friend, lovely guy. Johnny Vaughan. I call Johnny the Fox now. He's not sly in any way, but he just with the moustache, Johnny the Fox,
Johnny, I slag Johnny. You come to the opening of an envelope. He's had everything effective. Just turn around to Johnny Vaughan. Will be there.
And but just one particular incident I just want to mention about the Bective ethos or whatever. I ran a Christmas party here. I was only just married. I think it was 31, 32, I don't know. And I spent a lot of money on the Christmas party here, and it was an absolute disaster because all the lads were up in Kiley's. I couldn't get them down here. So I lost a fortune. There's a lot to me back then. Is probably only 200 or 300 or euro, But out of the blue, in the post, Jerry Quinn sent me a cheque for 200.
So that you wouldn't be out of pocket.
Yeah, because he knew I'd just be married. And I said,
is that a great thing?
That was unbelievable. I said, how generous, because obviously my wife was upset that I'd lost money, and it was just one of these things that happened, But Jerry sent me a cheque in the post for 200.
That's fabulous.
And every year I make sure that I send him a Christmas card. And he's a lovely guy.
He's still here?
Yeah,
still
it's
here.
brilliant,
Yeah,
brilliant.
It's good to see him still here.
Yeah.
I would have given Jerry a hard time, and he'd give me a hard time back at the
He's brilliant.
Excuse me, the discos here on a Saturday night, which back in the day, in the mid 80s to mid 90s, there were carnage here. But great memories, can't be shared unfortunately, right? But great memories. 2 questions I ask everybody, or we ask everybody. We're coming to a close here. So you're nigh on 30 years here. Who was the best player you saw in your time in Bective? Either played with or saw on the teams? Who would stand out for you as a player?
Well, the best player, there's been so many good players like that I've seen. Like I've seen, Monty was a great player. Steve Montgomery.
Yeah. The enforcer.
John Bulger, who plays for the Vets, is a super player.
Yeah.
Fikra Lennon. Emmett Sheridan is a lovely player. Ross Sheridan. But the best that I've played with and that I've seen play is Fergal Campion. Just Campo was
out half, yeah,
superb player. I think when we won the Vets League back in 2010, he got all the points. We won 13-7 against Mary's.
He's a bit good to be playing Vets now.
Yeah, he was, but he loved it because we had such a great team. Like all those lads. Jim Oliver was playing, another great player. We had some super players. The Goose. What's the Goose? I can't remember the Goose name, but he coached the Irish women to the Grand Slam.
Yes, yeah. Oh, that'll come to me. Philip, somebody is it? That'll come to me.
Yeah, lovely guy.
There's another nickname.
Joe Nolan was another great character, and loved Joe. Everyone loved Joe.
Yeah. So the follow-up question after the best player, and you're picking Campo as the best player. You said.
Yeah.
Who's the biggest? What Ranger had the biggest effect on you, or would say if you had to pick one or two people and go, you mentioned Jerry Quinn, that was a beautiful thing to do, and I'm sure that was done very quietly. Yeah. But what Ranger, who epitomises Bective Rangers for you?
Oh God, I would say Joe Nolan was exceptional. He's such a lovely man, and the Christmas party here was brilliant. And he was a great character and lovely man.
He used to get bands in here. He had Joseph Locke in here in the 80s. Right,
Oh,
Joseph
he's
Locke, the
brilliant.
tenor, yeah. Joe was a great man. And
Yeah.
if I was asked that question, I would probably say Joe Nolan, believe it or not. But it's your question.
I'd also have to mention Fergus Flanagan as well. He's been a great pal of mine through the years. We've had our little spats and stuff, but no, we're great pals. And I think that time when Narda won, Fergus was president that year when we played down in Dingle, and it's the only time we ever beat Dingle in all the years travelling down there. And Fergus had his president's jerseys and everything. So those two guys, I think.
I heard stories about the Dingle.
Mingle and
yeah,
Dingle.
Narda would have shared those. I think Rafa was on that trip as well. And Gar Quinn might have been on that trip as well.
Yeah.
So I've heard. Narda used to share all the stories. Unfortunately, we can't share them back. Look, 30 years. That's some service, and you're not finished yet. Yes,
I'm enjoying it now. As I say, I'll try and be involved in the club and somehow, but as I said, it's my home in Dublin, and love coming up here, and it's a great atmosphere and a great club, and we should never forget that it is a rugby club. That rugby rugby is very important, but that also. The socialisation is very important as well.
But look, the Vets piece is important, Joe. That's why we have you here, because we want to recognise the Vets as part of this club. And there's a huge number of people on that WhatsApp group, for example.
Yeah.
Very active, very vocal. Yeah. So that's part of the reason why we got you in, was to recognise that, and also to recognise that you're now going to be called a stallion, Osborne, forevermore.
Well, the stallion's better than the gelding.
Because of the offspring you've produced, and you've Irish rugby. I don't know if Leo has you on a retainer, right, for the kids coming through, but it's a great story. Well done, Joe. Thanks
very much. That was lovely, Simon. Thanks.
See
so
you.
enjoyable. Very enjoyable. Thanks very much, lads.